Hello, and welcome to Spiritual Living Today. We are here to experience this human life in all of its glorious contrast. Jennifer Lonnberg and her guides have been helping people bridge the gap between spirituality and being human, and how to realistically and practically incorporate spirituality into all aspects of our daily life since 2015. She is the author of multiple books, including Embodied Grace, A Woman's Path to Empowerment, and The Secret Experiences of a Closet Psychic. This is the place to be to talk about all things life and spirituality. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Spiritual Living Today. I am so excited about what we're talking about today. So I think I mentioned in a previous episode that I really wanted to be spiritually led on the way that I bring these messages out, and I'm literally just tuning into my guides and angels for each one and saying, okay, what are we going to discuss and talk about today? And this is something that is sometimes overlooked. So we're going to be talking today about permission work. Now, I want to back up a little bit and just invite you to my Facebook group, Embodied Grace Community. There's a lot in that group, and we're doing a Embodied Grace like 5-day challenge. You may not it's probably already posted by the time this airs, but you can still access it in the Facebook group. So join the Facebook group so that you can be in there whenever I run these free challenges and really work in this area of creating a life you love, right? So the original purpose of the work I do is to encourage others to embody love, peace, joy, abundance, happiness, right? All of those things. When you embody that, you really do begin to create a life that you love, that is fun, that is joyful, that feels in alignment. And one of the keys to this is giving yourself permission to have everything that you want in life, to have your heart's desires. And that is something that we tend to struggle with, right? There's so many of us who, for me, example, I really struggled with feeling like I was worthy of all of these things. I felt like I wasn't worthy to have enough money. I had the beliefs that you have to work hard for your money. And even if you work hard, like, are you worth getting the raise, or are you worth getting the better salary, right? Like, there's so many things around worth that are so important to understand and important to heal through. And I really want, that's my goal, right? My whole purpose of doing the work that I do is to help encourage you to do the healing work, the spiritual work, the shadow work, the self-limiting beliefs, all of this kind of work that needs to be done. And I almost am giggling because I hate to say the word work, because it's really more about allowing yourself, again, giving yourself permission, allowing yourself to see where maybe beliefs are holding you back, or allowing yourselves to see where old patterns, programs, paradigms, the way you were raised, it really comes down to beliefs, even when we're working in spirituality, right? Because what you believe is going to truly impact the way that you live your life. So if I could have it my way, everyone in the world would come to feel divine love. They would totally understand divine love, compassion, peace, and really understand that from the spiritual perspective, you are loved beyond measure. Like, if I could shout this from the rooftops and really get this message to anyone and everyone in this world, it would be that you are divine love. You've come into this human incarnation to be here on this planet to help express divine love, right? Like, God created us all out of love. It's a divine expression. And it's so hard to wrap your head around that, especially because we've forgotten, first of all, that we are a divine spark, that we are an extension of God's creation, right? And that God really does love us, and he wants us to have what we want in our life. But then we block ourselves up from it because we feel guilty that we want things. We feel like we're not good enough. We feel like we shouldn't have it. Sometimes there's even like a false humility, like the underdog story, right? Like it's almost more admirable to be the underdog. It's almost more admirable to be broke and poor. And that's such an inverted way, a distorted way of looking at things. And one of the things that, okay, I did not think this is where we were going, but one of the things that we have to remember is that on this planet, there is duality. We are here on the planet Earth in this duality experience. And that means that yes, divine love is available, but also so is the darkness, right? And that's part of the experience. We would not know the light if we didn't know the dark. Like, we have to understand, the only reason that we would know the light is on is because if we're in a dark room. Like, if you imagine being in a dark warehouse, you wouldn't know there was light unless somebody turned the light on, right? It would just be darkness. So the duality has a purpose, and it really is about our own spiritual growth. But even within that spiritual growth, we have to be willing to be uncomfortable. And then we have to understand that the discomfort is what helps us grow. And even doubting ourselves is what helps us grow. But we're never going to do any growth if we don't give ourselves permission to break outside of the way things have always been done, to break outside of the way my family's always done it, to break outside of these mindsets, these patterns, programs, right? All of these things. For me, part of that was breaking out of the mindset that as Christians, we were unworthy, right? Like, this is something, I know not everybody has had this experience, but one of the experiences that I had was, and I don't think any of the pastors that I've learned from, or that I went to Sunday school with, or that I went to church with, I don't think any of them really intended for it to come across this way. But it was this whole thing of, the underlying tone was always, you worthless, terrible sinner, how dare you want anything? You should just be grateful that you're alive because Jesus died for you, right? Like, that was kind of the energy behind a lot of what I experienced growing up. Like, again, it's nobody's fault. It was just the paradigm that I was born into. It was just a paradigm that I was raised with. And again, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying that's what it is. But what I've come to understand is that when you're truly working with Jesus, when you're truly working with the divine, when you truly understand the energy and the frequency behind the whole idea of Christ dying for us, it was, you are an amazing divine being and you've forgotten that. And I came here to show you the way. And yes, there's duality, but you are amazing and beautiful and you can do great things. You will do great things, greater than me, right? Like, there's so many things in the Bible about if you have faith of a mustard seed, that's a tiny, tiny little seed. If you have that much faith, you're meant to do great things. You're meant to do great works. And Jesus even said, you will do greater things than me. But here's the thing. We have to give ourselves permission, first of all, to believe it. And then second of all, to actually do those things. Now, I'm not speaking to this in an inflated ego type way. I'm talking about this from a spiritual perspective and a spiritual understanding. And that's something that I feel like I need to address too. Like, these podcasts and even the little videos that I do on Facebook and the posts that I share and all of those things, they are great tools. But you're never going to get the full experience if you don't go all in. So I'm asking you to go all in. Now, whether that means you go all in by watching all of the free content I have, that is fantastic, but do it. Go all in. Give yourself permission to dive into this work, to really dive into the spiritual understanding and the spiritual growth. But also, if you want to take it further, remember that I do have, programs, and I do have the membership, and there's ways to really get into this work. And again, you have to give yourself permission, first of all, to believe that you can, and then give yourself permission to step into whatever the work is. And it seems weird that we would need permission, but it is really one of the most powerful things that we can do, is to give ourselves permission to have the desire of an amazing life, to have the desire of living this life to the fullest and really wanting to have an amazing life. And I think sometimes we just hold ourselves back because of whatever the core, there's usually some core limiting belief, but it almost everybody that I work with comes down to some kind of not feeling worthy of really, truly wanting what you want, right? Not feeling truly in alignment with wanting a good life, a happy life. Like there's so many different things. And if I were to let's just do an exercise. I know this is a podcast, but let's just do this exercise anyway. If you were to like set a goal so big of the life that you wanted, what would it really be? And then tune in right now to your gut. And what are you feeling even thinking about that? Do you feel the resistance in your body? Do you feel your gut clenching? Do you feel yourself getting like a little bit freaked out? Like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could actually want that for myself. This is really about truly understanding that we've got to break through from the old 3D paradigms. And one of the ways to do that is to give yourself permission to do life differently. Give yourself permission to do spirituality differently. Give yourself permission to even do religion differently, right? Like, absolutely go to church, but ask yourself to go a little deeper. Look a little deeper into the messages. What's being hidden? What's maybe been sabotaged, right? Like what on this planet has been tweaked, and where is the real divine truth? And how do you trust yourself and give yourself permission to feel the truth, discern the truth, trust the truth, right? All of these different things. So let's take a minute and just tune in. I want you to just take a deep breath. Again, I know this is a podcast, but I feel led to do this. So take a deep breath and feel your feet, maybe wiggle your toes, get grounded. The reason we wiggle our toes is to just kind of bring our energy in. Feel into your heart, maybe put your hands over your heart or over your stomach. Take a deep breath. Again, just let yourself feel grounded in this moment. And I just want you, when I'm going to say this sentence and then you're going to finish it, and you're going to do that from your heart space. Okay, deep breath. I give myself permission to, and I want you to fill in the blank. And I'm going to take it a step further just because I know how powerful this is. I give you permission to do that thing, experience that abundance, follow that joy. I give you permission to go on that adventure, dive into this deeper work. I give you permission to create a life you love. Now, all of this work is so powerful, and I could go on and on and on about permission work. Sometimes you just need a friend to say, I give you permission to feel pissed off, angry, happy, sad, elated. I give you permission to raise your prices in your business. I give you permission to whatever it is, right? Like there's so many different things that sometimes it does make people irritated because they're like, I don't need permission. That's fantastic if you're one of those people. But I know for me personally, I needed that permission to do things differently. I needed permission to think outside the box. I needed permission to really create a life that I wanted to live. So if that's you, there's nothing wrong with it. But I'm going to encourage you to give yourself permission to create what you want to create in life, to do life on your terms, to believe that you can live beyond and apart from all the chaos in the world. Right now, that is one of the things that's showing up. This Pluto in Aquarius is not going to be easy, especially for the next couple of years. So give yourself some grace in that, but give yourself permission to disconnect from the 3D chaos and 3D reality and understand that there is a whole other world when you tap into the energetics and alignment and the spirituality and divine truth. Sending you guys lots of love. I would love to hear back from you on what you wanted to give yourself permission for, what you needed to give yourself permission for, what it felt good to have permission for, right? Let's dive into this a little bit. Sending you guys lots of love. I want these always to be interactive. Anything I send out, whether it's a podcast or an email or even a Facebook post. So definitely I encourage you to interact with me. Let me know how these podcasts are landing, how they're helping, if it's beneficial. because I really do want to help you create a life you love.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to grab the free downloadable resources for this episode. You can find the details in the show notes.
Remember that Jennifer offers an app, a variety of online courses, as well as private VIP coaching and mentorship. You can find out more about this on her website at jenniferlonnberg.com.